So I got one for you.
Mhm.
$9 to $45 billion of this budget is unaccounted for each year.
Yeah, of course.
So I guess it went to those races.
Of course.
Wow.
Of course.
What
Yes.
is unaccounted for?
Unaccounted for.
Hmm.
How
Nine.
much?
So the lowest estimate is 9 billion. The highest is 45. So we'll just cut it in the middle and say what? 22, 23
Hmm.
is unaccounted for every year.
Let me tell you, I got some stories, but I'm not gonna say it.
Yeah.
I have some stories. When we turn this off, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I have
Okay,
some stories. This
so-
is bringing up memories.
So here's my thing too, right?
Yep.
So, and this where I kind of waver at times. So Georgia has a lottery.
Oh,
Yep.
yep. You get it. Right.
Florida has a lottery.
Yep.
Maryland has a lottery.
Yep.
State taxes. You pay state taxes, road tax, all these different taxes.
Yep.
Mhm.
A lot of these lotteries supposed to be to help with what?
Education. Correct.
Okay, so if schools supposed to get money from Department of Education, now some of the monies that the states get supposed to go for scholarships, and like I get it,
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? Like Hope Scholarship for Georgia, but I'm pretty sure that does not cover. There's still some that's left out there. There's still money left out there. Where's that money go? Because like
I don't know.
like you're paying for taxes, everything. So how much money do you really need for programs in schools?
So I did a little bit of research on this. This is pretty interesting to deep dive on. So Mississippi, Alaska, and New Mexico. So 2 red states and 1 blue state. Their biggest need of their federal funding for education is 20%. They use 20% of their budget is from the federal government. New York and New Jersey have the lowest. They are 2 blue states. They only the federal funding only encompasses 12% of their annual budget. So just to give you an idea as to like where that money goes and which states use it. So it seems like primarily a lot of the Department of Education money is going to red states. At least that's what I found overall. And much less going to blues. I don't know if that answers your question as far as like the distribution of funding and how that works, but I agree with you that something is amiss. I call it the Great Maryland Lie, which was we did not have a casino in Maryland until Martin O'Malley was our governor. And what he said was, at the time, the proceeds developed from the casinos will go 100% into education. Did that ever happen? Of course not, because all they did was do what every American politician does, is just tell you what you want to hear and then do the exact opposite when they get into power. Now, to be fair, portions of that, and I couldn't even find the numbers. I ran through a whole bunch of things. The numbers aren't even published, Paul, as to where the money went. We don't know. But we know that a good majority, meaning 51% or more, went to educational funding through the casino revenue program. However, where is the rest going? I don't know. And I also want to know, from a strategic standpoint, how much money do we really need to give each kid per year to freaking go to school? It can't be this expensive. As I said, the United States is the biggest spender on earth, and we have the dumbest kids on earth. Now, I'm going to qualify that by saying we actually have mid-tier kids. According to statistics, our kids in the international community test mid-range as far as test scores in the entire world. The only thing we are really bad with is math scores. We suck at math in this country. Garbage. Yes.
But Mississippi is ranked like 34th in education.
That's right. Correct. They get a huge amount of money. That's right.
But New York is number 1.
Yes.
That doesn't add up.
Why is that?
So if they're getting the most money for education, that means the education system should be, in my humble opinion, that means like they schools should be getting enough funding and they kids should be doing their thing, but they're ranked almost at the bottom.
That goes back to my point. The most failing schools get the most money because they feel like they need more help. That's what I said. I told you. I know these are facts because I worked there. I know how it goes. I was there in budget meetings. I know exactly how this goes.
That makes zero
Fails to get
sense.
more money.
That makes zero sense.
Yeah.
But
It's the
but
truth.
but also could but now you're talking about schools and money. Now the last time I checked, if you have a free lunch program and the more kids you have that's receiving free lunch, those schools get a lot of money too.
For the lunch program.
Yeah, so that means that you have the rural and the underprivileged kids, a lot of like the assistance kids going to your school. And
Well,
and
that falls under, Medicaid, Medicare. That
That's
falls under
right.
that falls under
Right.
welfare and food. That's where
Yeah.
that goes. That's where that comes from.
More handouts, more shell games to move our money
Mhm.
around where we can't find it anywhere
Yeah.
else. It's amazing how that works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, I look at that and I just think, why aren't we doing a state by state, maybe audit to say, if Massachusetts, again, Massachusetts has a high tax rate, as does Maryland, but Maryland also has casinos and things like this. Why aren't we looking at each individual state from the federal government and saying, what exactly are you doing for your education? How much money are you bringing in for education? And then what are you doing with it when it goes to these schools? Because as you said, Hassan, some don't even freaking have air conditioning. What the
Right.
hell? It's 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And
What is going on?
like I don't know, but if that's the case, the whole government needs to be audited.
Oh, I'm fine with that. Let's audit the Fed first. I mean, and you sign me up. Absolutely.
If that's the case, the whole government needs to be audited because
Absolutely correct.
there's definitely some problems things that are going on.
Yep.
But I'm all for education, man. But I will always lean back to, if I had to choose, I'm gonna get rid of it because I know there are certain things that we're not able to change. However, my kids and my kids' kids and how they're treated still rings out in my mind. I don't want to see nobody mistreated. I don't want to see disabled kids not getting the things they needed.
Same.
I mean, I know there are some instances where that is not true, but yet it's still like in those cases that they are. I don't want to see it taken out of schools. And I don't believe that a local and state government is going to do what's required to make sure that those things happen.
Because when local government takes over, that also means the mayor is involved.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying anything after that.
No need.
Like I said, after
No need.
I'll give you some examples. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
No need.
But the mayor's involved. That's a totally different beast.
Total program.
I think this is what we're all alluding to, which is local control works if the populace is involved locally,
Right.
Unless you're just like we always hear this. How many people vote in a federal election versus their local and state elections? It's disparate by a long shot.
Right.
Most people focus on the federal and just say, well, that's how our country is going to be run. And I think folks need to understand that we need to kind of pivot from that and move towards a more local lens. Your local municipalities, your city, your state is much more important than the federal government. It just is. I know that that's strange for us as Americans to realize, but it really does matter. If you're not paying attention at the local level, as you just alluded to, who's the mayor and what are they up to? I don't know, because I don't pay attention to that. I'm just paying attention to Trump and Elon fighting this week.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the silliness that happens. If we were more locally focused, I think that a lot of these issues could be resolved.
Yeah.
Right.
Or this is just my opinion on a quick solution. Not a quick solution, but it could be a solution. Instead of it being a national, Department of Education, make each state have its own. I know they have a form of it, but the overall, the big boss, as I say, maybe you should kind of, distribute those out to to each individual state.
Yeah.
That may be a good solution. Each state keep their own lottery money or something, like something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
It needs to be completely dismantled, not dismantled in a way where you just completely get rid of it.
Right.
Just I just say break it apart, break it up. Just like they have a monopoly on everything, just break it up. What do you do with a company that's not producing, or they're overproducing, or doing too much?
You break it up.
You break it up.
You break
It's a
it up.
monopoly. Break them
Yeah.
up.
It's true.
It's too big. It's too huge. They're doing too much. It's a simple solution for a messed up situation.
Yeah.
It's simple. At least in
You all
My
right?
small eyes.
Right. Hey,
You know?
just put us in control for 20 minutes.
You do
We'll
it.
figure this out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
That's right.
We'll figure it out.
24 hours.
Okay, that's
We'll
fine.
figure it out.
Dude, they gave it to Elon.
130 days, right?
They
That's
gave it
what
to
we
Elon.
need.
Jeez.
Oh man, he's still sour about that. All right, anyway.
Let him in the building.
Right.
Anyway,
Really appreciate you all listening. This is Black Chat. I'm Robbie J. This is Hassan. This is Paul saying goodbye. If you follow us on Instagram, we really appreciate it. If you would share and like this video, even write us a comment, we would really appreciate that too. Engagement drives the algorithm, as you've heard many producers and content managers say. It's just really the truth. But we appreciate you all continuing to stick with us. Understand there's some folks out there who think we have controversial opinions and have lots to say on that. Again, if you want to send us an email, if you want to come on the podcast, please send us something and let us know. It's info@blackchatpodcast.com. I really appreciate y'all. I'm Robbie J. We'll catch you in the next one.